Hallelujah. Praise the Most High. Thank the Most High for coming before you again. I won't be before you long. I'll be brief. But yet again, we're at another yom, another day. Sun down, so it's another day to live right. So if you didn't live right yesterday, try to live right today. This is a new day. So I thank the Most High for coming before you. We'll get started. I won't be before you long. Give me the book of, started off here. Give me the book of Mashali, 15 and 29. Mashali 15:29. And other brother, give me the book of Yehuchanan Alaf, chapter 3 and verse 7. We'll start there. I had no idea it was Easter weekend today. And I thank the Most High for that. I had absolutely no idea. Trying to get some keys made. And they're like, yeah, with the holiday season, it's going to take longer. I'm like, what holiday is today? You always got some new holiday. I couldn't think of what holiday was today. And then when I pick up my clothes from the cleaners, she was like, well, happy Easter. I didn't say nothing to her. I was like, I acted like I didn't even hear. But appreciate the Most High for that. Because I'm not trying to be like all these folks. Did I get something wrong? Oh, that's right. I'm not trying to be like all these folks ripping and running, knowing good and well they have no proper belief. Good Friday. What does Mashali 15 and 29 say?
Yahuwah is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous.
You say Yahuwah is far from who?
From the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the Siddiq.
So we know all these folks out here that's doing wrong, that's doing wicked, the Most High is far from them. And same thing, we gotta look at ourselves. When you're doing wrong, when you're doing wicked, the Most High is far from you. So don't illusion yourself to think that when you're doing wrong, he's with you. He's not. He's far from you. Just like all these people out here, he's far from them because they have a false belief and a false way. But thankfully to us, that's not our belief. That's not our way. We don't believe in Jesus. It's funny. I was listening to what was it? It was some radio station, some gospel radio station. They had some sound like it was salsa, some type of salsa music, and they were talking about Jesus, my Jesus. And I was like, was salsa music on? Like, well, hey, they're getting closer. They're getting closer to the truth. As soon as they start playing Jesus with salsa music, they're getting real close. So I kind of laughed at it when I heard it. I kind of laughed. It was funny. Like, yeah, they're getting close. But Mashali 15 and 29, he says, Yahuwah is far from who?
Far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous.
So when you're doing righteous, that's when the Most High hears you. That's when the Most High hears you. And we got to look at putting ourselves in a state where we're constantly heard. Constantly. Because when you look at, give me the book of Oriah, chapter 11 and verse 20. Matter of fact, I think that's Matthew. Matthew 11 and verse 20. Matthew. Because we have an example, and we got to look at the man we're following. He wasn't just heard sometimes. He wasn't just heard after he repented, confessed, and waited till the next year and found himself in more wickedness. And then after he repented again, Most High heard him. Most High heard him all the time.
Amen.
Say 11:20. All right, can't put that up there. Matthew 11 and 20. What does that say? And then other brother, give me the book of Yehuchanan, chapter 9 and verse 30. Matthew 11 and 20. Because there's something we got to understand about righteousness and being heard. Because the question we all got to ask ourselves, do you want to be heard? Do you want to be heard by Elohim? Do you want the Most High to hear you? Because you got to understand, if he don't hear you, There's no way to save you if he don't hear you, because he's far from the wicked, and he hears the prayers of the righteous. So you got to look at what is righteousness. And we'll get to that. But the question, as I posed before, do you want the Most High to hear you? And that's something that we all gotta ask ourselves. We got to be real with ourselves when we ask ourselves that question. Because if you know you're doing wrong, you already know the Most High don't hear you. So the question is, do you want the Most High to hear you? If you don't want the Most High to hear you, then keep doing wrong. Keep being unrighteous. Because you're going to get what you want, because he ain't going to hear you. No matter how hard you cry, no matter if you burst your lungs out screaming and shouting, he ain't going to hear you. Because there's a behavior that comes with him hearing you, and it's called righteousness. But Matthew 11 and 20, and other brother Yuchanan 9 and 31. But what does Matthew have to say about it?
Then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida!
Okay, that must be Yuchanan 11 and 20. Yuchanan 11 and 20. See if I get it right on the second time. What's that say?
Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Yahushua was coming, went and met him, but Marim sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Yahushua, Yahushua, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of Elohim, Elohim will give it thee. Yahushua said unto her, thy brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Yahushua said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? She said unto him, Yea, Yahushua, I believe that thou art the Mashiach, the son of Elohim.
We're looking for Lazarus. Go ahead.
Which should come into the world. And when she had so said, she went her way and called Marim her sister secretly, saying, the master's come and calleth for thee. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came unto him. Now Yahushua was not yet come into the town, but was in that place where Martha met him.
Look at 41. 41. Go ahead.
Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. Yahushua lifted up his eyes and said,
There it is. Go ahead.
Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me.
That has the what?
Heard me. And I knew that thou hearest me always.
So he knew that he hears him always?
But because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me.
Now give me Yuchanan 9 and 30. Read that again. Let's listen closely. Another brother, give me Yuchanan 9 and 30. What do you say now?
And I knew that thou hearest me always, but because of the people which stand by, I said it.
See, he knew that the Most High hears him always. He hears him always. And that goes back to Machali 15 and 29. He said, because to the wicked he's far from him, but he hears the prayers of the righteous. So the reason that Yahushua can make that statement, because he knew I'm living righteous. That's why I have complete and utter confidence that you hear me, because I know I'm living right. I know I'm living right. What you say, I do. I follow you to the ends of the earth, as they say. So he had confidence. But what confidence do we have? Or do we question? Do we ask when we come to Yahuwah, when we do pray, is our prayer mixed with doubt? Is it mixed with a little uncertainty? Or is the Most High hearing me or not? Like, is this getting through? I don't even know if this is even getting through. Well, what reason do you have to believe that? Because if you're righteous, what doubt do you have? You should have no doubt. Only doubt you should have is if you know you're doing something wrong. And then you have full assurance that, yeah, I should start doubting because I'm not really walking fully. I'm not really walking righteous. That's the reason that's the only reason you should have any doubt when you come to the Most High and ask. Or when you have prayer, sincere conversation with the Most High. That's the only reason you should have doubt. So if you have that doubt, what's wrong? What are you doing? What are you doing? Because if you're righteous, you have nothing to worry about. Yahusha didn't. That man said boldly, I know you hear me, always. Because I know I'm living righteous. Because according to Mashali, according to Mashali 15 and 29, you said you hear the prayer of the righteous. So if I'm righteous, then you have to hear me. You got to hear me, because if you don't hear me, then you're not an Elohim of your word. And that's the confidence that Yahusha had. That I know that you're an Elohim of your word, of your Dabari. So if you say you're with me, if you say you're going to be with the righteous and I'm living righteous, you got to hear me. And I'm going to hold you to it. You got to hear me. So that's one thing we got to look at. If we're righteous, we should have no doubt, no fear, no question. We should be able to come to him in full and complete confidence. As he said, boldly come before him, because you know what you've been living. You know what you've been living. So the question is, do we have the same confidence as Yahusha? And if not, why? Because if we follow him like we say we do, then we should be righteous also. We should be. Because Yehukanan 9 and 30, which validates Mashali 15 and 29. What did he say?
The man answered and said unto them, Why, herein is a marvelous thing, that ye know not from whence he is, and yet he hath opened mine eyes. Now we know that Elohim heareth not sinners. But if any man be a worshipper of Elohim, and doeth his will, him he heareth.
Now he said, now we know. We don't have doubts. We're not second guessing. We're not, oh, maybe he hears me today, maybe he hears me tomorrow. He said, now we know that what?
That Elohim heareth not sinners. But if any man be a worshipper of Elohim,
but if any man be a worshiper,
and doeth his will,
him
he heareth.
Him he heareth. That's why Yahushua can make that statement. I know you hear me, because I'm a worshiper. Matter of fact, give me Tahalim 118 and 118 and 30. No, verse 30, give me 20. That's not going to work. What does that say? Tahalim 118 and 30? I'm sorry, 118 and 20?
This gate of Yahuwah, into which the righteous shall enter. I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me, and art become my salvation.
So he said, I'm going to do what?
I will praise thee.
I'm going to praise you.
For thou hast heard me, and art become my salvation.
So he heard him, and he became his salvation. So based on what we're talking about, what's the cause of him hearing him? Who can make that statement? That you heard me, and that you my salvation? Yahusha, right? Is Yahusha the only one that can make that statement? No. Every last one of us can make that statement. Every last one of us. And that's how he correlates to us. Because if a righteous man, anybody that's living righteous, you can make that statement. Now, we know he was talking about Yahusha, but in that sense, we should all be able to make that statement. You heard me, and you saved me. We should be able to. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? Now, jump back to that Yehukanan 9 and 31. He said, I will praise you because you heard me and you saved me. Now we know, now thinking about it, I'm looking for a name. What name can we? No, what name can we correlate to that? Shamuel, herd of Elohim. Put it over here. Shamuel. That man was Shamuel. Yah heard him. He heard him. He said, I know you always hear me. But he could make that statement because he was righteous. You got to look at the correlation. If you want Yah to hear you, you know what you got to do. You know what you got to do. You got to live righteous. Yehukanan Alaf 3 and 7. Shamuel. It should be every one of our goal to be Shamuel, to be heard of Elohim. If that's not your goal, you're in the wrong place. You're just killing time. I don't know why anybody would want to kill time. Wasting years of your life when you could be out there smacking up some Jesus that's walking down the street, pushing them over. You could be having fun with these clowns. You could be getting your groove on. But, I don't know why you'd be here wasting your life, wasting time, when that's not your goal. If it's your goal, then stick with it. Stay on the path. No matter what happens, no matter what comes, no matter what correction, no matter what chastisement, no matter what recompense comes, stick with the path if that's your goal to be Shamuel. And if it's not, you might as well leave because you're wasting your time. But Yehuchanan, Alaf 3 and 7. Matter of fact, give me 3 and 6 first. What does that say?
Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth hath not seen him, neither known him. Mm-hmm. Little children, let no man deceive you.
So now he's saying, let no man deceive you. But what?
He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous.
He that do what?
He that doeth righteousness is righteous.
So if you're doing it, then that's what you are. You are what you do. If anybody want to know, well, how do I know if I'm righteous or not? How do I know if I'm doing right? If I'm doing right. Well, therein lies the answer. What are you doing? Because in this way, you are what you do. If you live like a sinner, then you're a sinner. If you're sinning, then you're a sinner. If you're obeying, then you're righteous. If you live in righteous, you're righteous. It's not a big mystery, getting all deep. How do I know? It's the answer is in the question. You are what you do. If you're disobeying, you're disobedient. If you're obeying, then you're obedient. If you're doing righteous, you're righteous. But on the flip side, if you're not, then you know what you are. Ain't no secret in here. Ain't no mystery to this. When it comes to this, it's simple and plain. When you're trying to define who you are and what you are and where you're headed, there ain't no mystery to that. Just look at yourself. Look at what you're doing. That'll answer the question for you. Just be real with yourself. Be like, look, I already know. I know what I'm living. I know how I'm living. I'm not surprised what direction I'm headed. You got to be real with yourself. So depending on what your goal is, if you want to be Shamuel, then you got to act like it. You got to act like it, and you got to do the works that are associated to that. You want to be heard, then you got to be righteous. But he said, he that doeth what?
He that doeth righteousness is righteous.
Is righteous.
Even as he is righteous.
Even as he is righteous. So we're looking at another example why he could say, Yahuwah, I know you always hear me. Because he's righteous. He is righteous. Yehuchanan 1 and 1. You can say, oh, well, that was talking about Yahuwah. Well, Yahusha was Yahuwah. The same person. What does that say?
In the beginning was the Word.
I need to write that down.
And the Word was with Elohim. And the Word was Elohim. The same was in the beginning with Elohim.
Yeah.
All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made.
Now jump down to 12. Just we can prove out what I'm saying.
But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Elohim, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man,
Right.
but of Elohim.
Right.
And the word was made flesh,
Yes.
and dwelt among us.
Now we know, if we know in the beginning was the Dabari, and the Dabari was Elohim, and that the Dabari became flesh, we know that the only one that can testify to that is Yahushua. So when we look at the word being wrapped up in a body, that's Yahushua. So when you look at Yehukanan, Allah 3 and 7, you say, oh, well, even because he is righteous. Yeah, Yahushua was righteous. That's why he can make that statement as far as, I know you hear me. You always hear me. And that's the point that we all got to, I would hope that's the point that we all want to be at. I would hope so. But one thing we got to look at when it comes to being righteous. And we look at, the world's view, and, when it comes to righteousness is basically, it's in the eye of the beholder. Let's say that. It's in the eye of the beholder. Because you got Christians. They don't necessarily agree with us. We're not right in a Christian's eyes. We're not right in a Muslim's eyes. We're not right in a Buddhist eyes. Because if we were right, then they would come over and be with us. So you look at their righteousness is good for them, if that makes sense. But for us, we know our righteousness is based off our belief. Because righteousness is based on belief. What do you believe to be right? But for us, for the Yahudim, and if you desire to be Yahudim, we already know that this is right. The book is right. The Most High's word, that's right. So people can go off and say, oh, yeah, well, how do we know what's right? What do you believe? Let's start there. What do you believe? What do you believe to be true? What do you believe to be right? Well, I believe in Muhammad, the prophet. I believe in Buddha. Okay, well, if that's what you believe to be right, you can't believe this. Because I don't believe none of that junk. We don't believe in none of that stuff.
Amen.
So righteousness is your right, our right, is based off our beliefs. And our beliefs are based off of the book. Our belief is based off of Elohim's word. But give me the book of, give me the book of Colossians, chapter 1. Colossians chapter 1. Because people could, even the Hebrew Israelites, they can think that just because they're following the law, that would make them right. Now, is that a true statement? Is that a true statement? If I just follow the law, does that make me all the way right? Don't do it. Dabari Hayamim Beth, chapter 25 and verse 1. Just looking at what righteous is and what it means to be righteous. Because we can think we have an idea of righteousness, but it has to go a little further for us. If you want to be Muslim, then stay with Muhammad. Stay with all that. But for us, we got to stay with the book. We got to stay with the law, statutes, and the commandments. Not just that. We got to go a little bit further. Just a little bit further. I didn't write it down. It's a long word. Dabari. Yamim. What does that say?
Amaziah was 20 and 5 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 20 and 9 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoadan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, but not with a perfect heart.
So he did that which was right. That's not good. He did that which was right. So he was righteous. I'm messing up. Because he said, he that, according to Yahuchanan 3 and 7, he that doeth righteous is righteous. So now to the average person, Amaziah could have looked at, well, that's me. That's me. I'm righteous. Yeah, well, you got to go a little further. Because we got to look at righteousness as a whole. Because he said Amaziah was what?
Amaziah was 20 and 5 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 20 and 9 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoadan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah, but not with a perfect heart.
Not with a perfect heart. So he did that which was right. So he was righteous. Because if you're doing right, you're righteous. But he said not with a perfect heart. Therein lies the problem. He said not with a perfect heart. Now keep going.
Now it came to pass, when the kingdom was established to him, that he slew his servants that had killed the king his father. But he slew not their children, but did as it is written in the law in the book of Moshe, where Yahuwah commanded, saying, the father shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the fathers.
Now jump to 12.
And other 10,000 left alive did the children of Yehudah carry away captive, and brought them unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they were all broken in pieces.
Okay, jump back down to 6. Went too far. If you can read my mind, you know what I'm looking for.
He hired also 100,000 mighty men of valor out of Yasharal for 100 talents of silver.
There it is.
But there came a man of Elohim to him, saying, O Malak, let not the army of Yasharal go with thee, for Yahuwah is not with Yasharal, to wit, with all the children of Ephraim. But if thou wilt go, do it. Be strong for the battle. Elohim shall make thee fall before the enemy. For Elohim hath power to help and to cast down. And Amaziah said to the man of Elohim,
what was the problem, though?
But what shall we do for the 100 talents which I have given to the army of Yasharal?
So he was looking at the treasure that he had here on earth. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I obey the law. I obey the law. That should be good enough. But we know that just obeying the law is not good enough. Because if your heart is, Acts chapter 8. Acts chapter 8. I believe that's 17. Acts chapter 8, verse 17. Because it's not just your behavior. Not just your behavior of, let me get into this mechanical mode of obeying the law. Not just that, you got to check that heart too. That heart's got to be right. Then you'll be completely righteous. We can't be half-stepping when it comes to being righteous. Because that's how people did in the past. Because even under the law, people still committed sin. They still did. That's why they brought their sacrifices yearly, annually. Because they still committed sin. Sacrifices didn't stop sin. The law didn't stop sin. Okay, I break the law. All I gotta do is just go bring, a couple turtle doves and, maybe a bullock and stuff like that. I'm good. But looking at, is that right? To know that, okay, I can still commit sin, but all I gotta do is just bring a sacrifice. That's not right. Your heart's not right. Your heart's not right with Elohim because you're trying to get out of something. You're trying to get out of it. Your heart is not truly, Matthew 22. Matthew 22. Because we got to look at it's not just about what we do as far as a religious practice, because people can set in their heart and mind, as Amaziah did, I'm gonna get in the practice of following the law, but that still didn't make his heart right. It's the actions. It's doing those actions, but also having a pure heart, also having a right heart. Because as he proved, you can do that stuff, but your heart still not be right. So if you're going to be right, you got to be all the way right. For us, we got to be all the way right. We got to have righteous behaviors, and we got to have a righteous heart. But Acts 8:17. I want to hit that real quick. What does that say?
Then laid they their hands on them, and they received the Ruach HaKodesh.
Uh-huh.
And when Shimon saw that through laying on of the apostles' hands the Ruach HaKodesh was given, he offered them money, saying, Give me also this power, that on whomsoever I lay hands, he may receive the Ruach HaKodesh.
Now, is that a righteous thing? I mean, if you got the Ruach HaKodesh, then you're good. You're straight. But he said, I want this power. So do we not agree that was a righteous thought? That was a righteous thought. I mean, I want to be able to endow this power on people. I want to be able to give somebody Ruach HaKodesh just by laying hands on them. I mean, that's a good desire. It's definitely a good desire. But what?
But Cuff said unto him,
What'd he say?
Thy money perish with thee, because thou hast thought that the gift of Elohim may be purchased with money.
Uh-huh.
Thou hast neither part nor lot in this matter.
Uh-huh.
For thy heart is not right in the sight of Elohim.
His heart wasn't righteous. He desired a good thing, but his heart wasn't righteous. And that's what caught him up. Amaziah did a good thing following the law, but his heart wasn't right. It caught him up because he was worried about his treasures. He was worried about his finances. And looking at was it Shamu? He was trying to sniggle around and get around getting around the behaviors of righteous. You got to have righteous behaviors and you got to have a righteous heart. You can't just try to I don't want to do all that. I don't want to worry about the righteous behaviors. I don't want to worry about I got to do the Shabbat and I got to not eat this or not eat that. I got to cover my head. Let me just give money. It's just easy. Let me just give some money. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll be good. You can't separate the two. You can't have just righteous acts and not have a righteous heart. You can't have a righteous heart desiring to do a good thing and not have the righteous acts to go with it. It has these things come together. You have to have both. You can't get it out of either one, and that's what Shimon was trying to do. He was trying to get out of the works. He was trying to get out of the works. You can't have one without the other. You can't do it. So looking at him trying to offer money again through finance, it's not all about money. We got to look at where's your heart at. Where's your heart? What's that? Matthew 6:20. I think that is. It's a heart check. Because we know in order to be heard of Elohim, we have to be righteous. But we got to be righteous all the way if we're going to do it. Can't just say, I'm going to follow the law and have a wicked heart. Or be half-stepping when it comes to our heart being right. Because again, Amaziah proved that. He proved that, yeah, I can follow the law, but I can still be wrong. I can still not have a righteous heart with Elohim. And I'm off the mark. I'm off the mark if I got an unrighteous heart. I got to have both. You got to have both. Ain't no half-stepping. Y'all, I don't even know. Who raps that? Ain't no half-stepping. Big Daddy Kane did that? Well, you heard Big Daddy Kane. Ain't no half-stepping, especially when it comes to this. You can't just go around having just the works and not have a righteous heart. But Matthew 6:20.
But lay up for yourselves treasure in Shamayim, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
Did I write that down? Uh-huh.
For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
He said where?
For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
So where your treasures are, that's where your heart is. Amaziah's heart was with his treasure. That's why it was his concern. Well, what about the money? That was Shamon's concern. I got money. Let me get it because I got money. Okay, well, if that's your treasure, your heart ain't right. Because your heart's going to show you every time. Read that again.
For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Now go back to the previous verse, and then the other brother, give me Colossians. I called it earlier. Give me Colossians 3:1.
Verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earths, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in Shamayim, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal.
Now you ain't got to get it, but we look at another story about the young man. He said, well, what's the greatest commandment? And Yeshua told him, he said, well, all this I've done from my youth up. What lack I yet? He said, go sell what you have. What was the hardest thing for him? He had much goods. He walked away sorrowful because that's where his heart was. He was just like Amaziah. That's where his heart was. So he's saying here, but for y'all, for us, we can't be like that. We can't be like Amaziah. We can't be like the young rich man. Our heart cannot reside in this stuff. Your possessions, your families, your friends, your heart cannot reside with them. Because that's your treasure. Because where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. And a lot of people show where their heart is every time something happens. Every time you can't separate from something, every time you put something above the Most High, well, obviously that's your treasure. Because your heart is attached to it. But he said, lay up your treasures where?
But lay up for yourselves treasures in Shamayim, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Colossians 3:1. Did I spell that right? 1L? I don't care. It's Greek. But Colossians 3:1, what does that say?
If ye then be risen with Mashiach, seek those things which are above, where the Mashiach sitteth on the right hand of Elohim.
So this is what Shaul was telling him to do. If you then be risen with the Mashiach, which is all something that every one of us is aspiring, either is doing or aspiring to do, he's telling you to do something. He's telling you to seek what?
Seek those things which are above.
Seek those things which are above.
Where the Mashiach sitteth on the right hand of Elohim.
And it's the same thing that Mashiach himself said. It's the same thing he said. Keep going with that.
Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earths.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing Yahusha said. Go back to that Matthew 6. He said, lay up your treasures in the Shamayim. Same thing Shaul said. Set your affection on things above. Sometimes we get so caught up in our worldly stuff, our worldly ambitions, we can forget that. I mean, I know we want to accomplish things and do this and do that, but at the same time, what is more pressing? What's more important? That's something everybody got to look at. And that's gonna show you where your heart is. But Matthew 6:20, let's deal with it. Let's really get into it. Because one thing is true. Either he hears you or he doesn't. And that's what we got to break down. If he doesn't hear you, okay, what's the problem? You're not righteous. Why not? Are you doing the works of the law? Okay, good. Now where your heart at though? Your heart in that money you chasing after? That money you can't give up? That Ananias and Sapphira thing you got going on? Your heart, you can't get over your family? Can't separate from them? Can't separate, from your old past friends. Where your heart at? Because if you got it right, if you're following the works of the law and your heart is right, then there shouldn't be no problem with Elohim hearing you. There shouldn't be no problem. And you shouldn't have no doubt, no concern. So again, check your heart. Check your hearts. Matthew 22. Matthew 22 and 20. We all got to become Shamu. It's imperative. It's imperative. Because we got to get to the point where the Most High hears us. He ain't going to hear you if you ain't living right. He ain't going to hear you if your righteousness is imbalanced. Matthew 22 and 20. And then other brother, give me Dabari Hayamim, chapter 7 and verse 14. And then other brother, give me Uriah 10:16. I'm going to come down. Just give me a couple more minutes. Couple more minutes. Because it's my desire. For me, my desire is at least to say something that can help you. To help you understand. To help you, to put a mirror in front of your face and cause you to look at yourself, cause you to look at the word, give you some understanding. For me personally, I don't care. I could give a blank about myself. It's about y'all. I say that saying that it's about you guys. It ain't about me. If I do well up here, let the Most High get the glory. If I fail, that's on me. That's how I see it. I didn't put enough time. But if I do well, I don't care about getting the glory. Let the Most High get the glory. If I give you some knowledge and understanding, let the Most High get the glory. It ain't me. I ain't nobody. I ain't nothing. It's about you guys. That's how I view myself. I'm nothing. It's you guys. So if I fail, it's on me. If I succeed, give credit to the Most High. But give me that Dabari Hayamim, Beth, 7 and 14. Somebody be like, well, you don't give a blanket about it. What? Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Understand the context of what I'm saying. Folks be developing their own stuff, their own ideas. Well, honey, did you hear what he said today? He said he don't give a blank about himself. That's not what I'm. Hold what you got. Okay, now what does that say?
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from Shamayim and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
He said, if my people will do what?
Which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways.
If my people that are called by my name shall do what?
Humble themselves and pray.
And pray.
And seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then will I hear from Shamayim and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
He said, if my people that are called by my name shall do what?
which are called by my name shall humble themselves
and
pray,
which
and-
means now you're starting to have sincere conversation, starting to ask,
and seek my
and
face,
seek his face.
and turn from their wicked ways,
Then what?
will I hear from Shamayim,
Then will I hear. I'll hear after you turn. But make no mistake, if you don't turn, I ain't hearing. Don't get yourself confused. Don't get yourself tricked up. If you don't turn, I ain't hearing. That's the condition of that statement. That was the condition. If my people, if, that's the condition. If, then. So if you do this, then I'll do this. But you got to turn first. You got to turn, then I'll hear. And then what will I do after I hear?
and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land.
I'll save you. Just like Mashali 15 and 29. Oh, I'm sorry. Tahalim 118 and 20. Read that, catch that? Tahalim 18 and 20. Because he said, if you do this, then I'll do this. But we got to look at the flip side. If we don't pray, if we don't seek his face, if we don't turn, can we still expect him to hear us? So each one of us in our present day situation, if you know that the Most High don't hear you, you already know something's going on. Now, if you don't turn from your wicked ways, should you expect the Most High to hear you? You shouldn't expect it because it's not going to happen. Don't lie to yourself. Jump back to that Tahalim 118 and 20. I know I got you moving. Just bear with me. Go ahead.
This gate of Yahuwah into which the righteous shall enter, I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me, and art become my salvation.
You heard me, and you saved me. Looking at Dabarim, I'll hear, then I'll heal. I'll heal them after I hear. But they got to turn first. They got to turn. The only way any of us can be Shamu all, we got to be righteous. If we haven't turned yet, if we haven't repented, if we're not doing the righteous works of the law and faith, which is having a righteous heart, not being tied down to our money, our treasures here on this earth, but building up treasures in the Shamayim, we might as well forget it. Because until we do what that says, none of us will be Shamuel. But that's the goal we should have. So he can hear us, so he can heal us. If you don't want to be healed, then don't worry about it. But if you're one of us that want to be healed, if you're one of us that want to be saved, then he got to hear you first. He got to hear you. And then once he hears you, then he'll heal you. But you got to turn before that happens. You got to be righteous, within and without, works and heart. So finish me up at that Matthew 20 and 22 and 20. Yeah, look at, well, how do I be righteous? Is this making any type of sense? Making any type of sense? I mean, it could be one way in my mind, but relaying that to you and making it be in your mind, that's the other part. If it don't make sense, you might just give me after service $59.95. I'll make it instead. But Matthew 22 and 20, it's not 20, but read down. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, whose is this image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. Then said he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto Elohim the things that are Elohim's. When they had heard these words, they marveled.
What's the last verse of 22?
46.
46. Give me 40. I'm looking for the first great commandment. Read my mind. What's that? 34? Give me 32. Go ahead.
I am the Elohim of Abraham, and the Elohim of Yatsakut,
Uh-huh.
and the Elohim of Jacob.
Uh-huh.
Elohim is not the Elohim of the dead, but of the living.
Right.
And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
But when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. And one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, and saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law?
Mm-hmm.
Yahushua said unto him,
What did he say?
Thou shalt love the Elohim, Yahuwah, with all thy heart, and with all thy heart.
Not just half. Not just half, right? Not just the law. Uh-huh. Go ahead.
And with all thy soul,
All that soul.
and with all thy mind.
Uh-huh.
This is the first and great commandment.
So he looked at, you got to do it with all. All your heart. All your heart. If you want treasures, build them up in Shemayim. Show me where you want your treasures to be. And that's going to show me where your heart is. So not just the acts of obeying the law, but show me where your treasures are now. Show me where your heart is. Where's your heart at? Because he said, read that over.
Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart.
All your heart. You want to have a righteous heart? You want to know how to get yourself righteous? Love Elohim with all of it. Not just half. Don't half step. All of it. Uh-huh.
And with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first and great commandment.
First and great commandment. So if you do that, you're going to be obeying the law. You're going to fulfill both of it. So I would just encourage everyone, don't just check your behavior. Because over time, it can get repetitious. I go here off of religious practice, off of religious repetition, where I come on the Shabbat, I don't eat nothing I ain't supposed to, I make sure I do all that. Just don't just focus on that, but focus on where your treasures are. Focus on where your heart is. And that's going to let you know where you're at. And that will let you know if you Shamu all or not. Because Yahushua was. Yahushua was Shamu all. He said, I know you always hear me. Always hear me. And that's where we got to be. So I appreciate y'all time. I hope you guys gained something from this. If you did, to the Most High be the glory.
Amen. Amen.
All right.